Yeah, welcome to ShareTreck. This is Raj here. Friends, we're looking at our dashboard today. And here we have the dashboard. And the main headlines today, I think the thing to note would be that the fear and greed index, which was 16 yesterday, has dropped back down to 8. We are still in extreme fear and with good reason. However, there is a stone deaf announcement here where Peter Navarro says, stock market plunge was no big deal. I mean, many people had fortunes wiped out, trillions of dollars were wiped out. So this is absolutely a very tone deaf comment out here. The latest news today is that China has raised tariffs on US goods to 125% in retaliation, and Tesla has stopped US made cars being bought into China. They're not taking those orders anymore. So that's going to be a reduction in Tesla sales. And treasuries are trading like risky assets. And that should be a huge warning, because we had the basis trade issue happening. And when treasuries start going up in yields, basically it means that there are too many treasuries and too few buyers, which makes it very difficult for the feds to raise funds, the government to raise funds, and also to service debts, because any future bonds will come up with high interest. So it's not at all good, especially for a reserve currency. So that's what I think. And then you have the news out here which says dollar sinks and gold soars in spiraling trade war. I mean, after a long time, I'm seeing DXY at 99 cents, which is below $1. So it's not at all looking good. And German finance chief is saying he sees chance for stronger euro role in trade. And we also seen German bond yields go down because they are much in demand. So the focus has shifted from US to Europe. And it's possible that Europe might take the leadership out there. Now, when I look at all the futures out here, they're all mildly positive. When I took the snapshot, they were more positive, and they are less positive as we approach the opening time. Because I think despite all the positive news about EU officials flying across to have trade negotiations on Sunday with Trump about the tariffs, I'm thinking that unless you have something concrete written and signed, we can't trust it. And again, with the Trump administration, anything they sign is also not to be trusted. Case in point, USMCA, which was signed, is not being trusted and not being honored. So those kind of fears are also there. So I'm very skeptical about any kind of positive news coming out in the very short term, like within 2 or 3 days. It may take a little time, but everyone who is negotiating with Trump would like to have very strong safeguards, everything in writing and without any ambiguity. So it's going to take much more when you're negotiating with someone you don't trust. So that's the way I'm seeing it. And Trump tariffs put US services trade surplus with China at risk. Not only China, but more other countries as well, because they are going to either consume less because services are now no longer affordable. And that's where the cheaper dollar comes in handy, because US exports will appear to be cheap. But overall, services become a target, and we have companies like Facebook, and we have other media entities like Threads and all, which are global, WhatsApp. So various companies can come up with legislation demanding for data or encryption key or whatever to create non-tariff barriers and make it difficult to operate. So those are all the side effects that could come up. And then finally, I would like to talk about one more item that I have here for the first time in our chart. This is the US 2-year by 10-year spread, which is right now, I'm looking at it online, it's right now at 0.58. When I took the snapshot, it was at 0.56. Anytime it goes above 0.50 is a problem. So it's at 0.59 right now at this point of time as I look at it online. So that's not a good situation for US to be in. And therefore my title on the thumbnail today was, despite bullish media headlines, we have underlying problems which have not been resolved. For example, we have 125% tariff with China and 145% tariff on China. We got 10% tariff across the world, regardless of whether they have a tariff on US or not. We still have tariffs on aluminum and steel, and we still have tariffs on Mexico and Canada. So with all these things around, and the bond index and other things showing a lot of frailty, the US dollar index also showing frailty, things are not as good as it may feel when you read the headlines and watch the TV. And we got to be very careful. And today is a Friday, so options expiries would take place. So that could also have a little bit of impact on how the prices go. I am still bearish at this point of time. And I'm going to next take us into the TradingView platform so that we can talk about what's happening with the stock market indices and take it from there. Good morning, Hot Dog. Thanks for joining. Okay, so let's start off with S&P 500 futures. As you can see, S&P 500 futures are at 0.20. And if you recollect, when I took the snapshot, S&P 500 futures were at plus 0.63. Now they have come down to plus 0.27. So it is tapering off, and I'm expecting that when we open, we are going to resume the way backwards on the way back down. And this is support at 5314.00 where we left yesterday, and I think this is going to be breached and it is going to become a resistance. I've already marked it resistance. It's at 5314.00, and right now we are at 5309.75, and our support for today is going to be at 5110.75, and the next support is going to be at 5002.25. So these are two supports that we have already tested in the past. They are going to be our supports for today. In terms of resistance, we have resistance starting from 5370.50 and going all the way up to 5480.50. And this resistance at 5367.50 has been holding us back for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days. And that is going to be our major resistance for today. NASDAQ is showing a gain of 0.18% in the pre-market trades, in the futures. And if you look at our chart out here, what we had for NASDAQ was plus 0.66. Right now, it has gone down to 0.16. So as I can explain to you, the trend is going towards red open, and we have a resistance out here at 18,553.25 for today. And we have a support out here, which is going to be at around 18,398.75 for today. So I'm going to just mark this as a support so that you can see this here. And we have another resistance. I'm just going to thicken this line so that you can see it clearly and make it red. I'll just pull it out from here. So we have a minor resistance at 18,781.25. So this is the contours of within which I'm expecting NASDAQ to move today, unless we have some really bad or really good news. Dollar index is now at 99.752. So this is the strength of dollar against a basket of currency. A good portion of that basket is euro. I think it's a proportion of around 40 to 45%. So basically euro has become stronger than the dollar. So the exports are going to be cheaper for US. It helps it in a way with the tariffs when other countries import from US. However, while importing from other countries, it becomes very expensive for them. And remember, for Christmas, all the inventory planning and everything has got to happen now. All the designs, conceptualization, marketing, pricing, business case, everything has to be done now, and orders placed on China and other countries so that they can be shipped home in time so that they can be delivered before Christmas to everyone. Now, those activities are fraught with a lot of problems and risk. So there is a bit of a standstill out there. So this Christmas is going to be very different. That's the way it looks right now, looking at this tariff mess. Then you go to the 10-year yield. The 10-year yields have been going up steadily, and today we have this support which is going to be at around 4.40%. We are still above that support. And if we come down from that, then we have a long way to go, and our support is 4.139. But at this point of time, as the headline said, US Treasury is dealing like a risk asset, and people are kind of moving away from there. And also there was this basis trade problem which was covered up, and that was one of the reasons why the tariff was postponed for 90 days. Now basis trade risk continue to increase as we see this number out here, the 2-year by 10-year spread keep going above 0.5. It is still in a dangerous territory, very close to where it was when the tariffs were rolled back. And we also had a headline yesterday from Trump saying that further postponement of the tariff beyond 90 days is also possible. So it's all over the place, and uncertainty is what the market doesn't like. And there you have it, friends. Now let us go on to the indicators and look at S&P 500. We stopped by this resistance, which was at 5,280.09. It pushed us down, so that's going to be a resistance for us today. And our support for today is going to be 5151.90 for S&P 500, followed by 5119.78 for S&P 500. So these are the two supports. MACD is a bit bullish, but momentum still desires to be picked up. And overall, I am bullish. I'm bearish on this market. That's my stance. Nasdaq is just below this resistance. It was pushed down yesterday by this resistance, which is at 18,512.58. If you recollect, in the morning live stream, we had spoken about these two resistance, which were gap fill up and down areas, and we got stopped at the very bottom itself, so we did not have much strength in the market. The good thing about yesterday was that we ended slightly adjacent to where we closed the day before. So to that extent, the bearishness was not that evident, but there was a kind of exhaustion of buyers. That's what I would glean from here. So I'm thinking that for today, our resistance is going to be 18,519.32 and our support is going to be 17,843.48, assuming the normal trend with options expiries and everything. But if we have some bad news, like for example, we have a press release that says it's fake news that European Union is already on the way to negotiate with White House on tariffs. So if some fake news article like that comes in, so then probably we could drop down further, because right now there is a lot of positivity still in the market that while China is on the docks, EU may try to cut a deal with the US. And that's the positivity there. If that somehow gets taken out, then we are coming down. Otherwise, we will be within these two ranges. That's my thought. And QQQ was down 4.25% yesterday. Again, we were pushed down by this resistance out here, which is again going to be resistance for us today at 450.34. Right now, we are at 448.46. And our support is going to be 434.89. This is our range today. VIX is going up. It has gone up by 6.26% this morning, and we have support for it at 40.23. Generally about 20, I don't like VIX being there, and generally people do not like VIX above 20 because you cannot do swing trade. You cannot do anything reliably because the volatility is too high and anything could happen. So things are not looking that great from a VIX perspective. PCC is neutral. Gold is showing what is happening actually. These are all 4-hour candles, friends. So each of these candles is a 4-hour candle, and you can see that gold has gone above our diagonal line of resistance, which today, being a dynamic line, it should have been at 3118.42, and gold is already at 3215. Have we ever heard of gold at this level? This is phenomenal. This is an indication of how much the US dollar and US Treasury have become unfavorable in the current market with the current administration. That said, XLP is continuing to make a comeback slowly and steadily while the market decides whether we are heading towards a recession. Now, let us go on to have a look at our stocks. NVIDIA, remember all these candles are 4-hour candles. I have done that deliberately so that we can see a little bit of intraday trade as well. So this was our last 4-hour candle from the day before. And then this was yesterday's 4-hour candle, and this is the second 4-hour candle. The second half of the day had less trading and it tried to go up, but it couldn't even manage to pierce half of the previous 4 hours candle. So there is bearishness inside, even though it is betrayed by this bullish candle out here and the spike in the prices towards the end of the day. We had a support out here at 106.91 yesterday, which has now become a resistance for us. And we have, let me convert this into resistance. And there's another line out here at 109.34. That also has got to become a resistance. Yeah. And now we have a support at 105.92. That's our very first support that we are going to see out here. And if we break down below this, then our next support for NVIDIA is going to be 101.97. If NVIDIA comes below 100, I'm definitely going for it to do the dollar cost averaging. And next, we want to look at Meta. Meta is has shown that in the first 4 hours, it came down very rapidly. The second 4 hours, while NVIDIA was going up, Meta could not manage to have the same kind of a movement, and therefore this line of support, which happened to be at 549.77, has now become a resistance for today. So 549.77 is our resistance, and the support today is going to be at 516.67, which is this green line out here. So this is the range within which I'm expecting Meta to work today. And if you look at Google, Google was down 3.53% yesterday, and despite everything that happened in the first 4 hours, it was still supported by this line of support at 154.92, exactly as we expected. We didn't go anywhere near the resistance, so that shows that the market didn't have the power to go anywhere near the resistance or even anywhere near the previous day's close. We came back down, we were down 3.53%. Today again, our support is going to be 154.92. And if we fail that, then our next support is going to be this dynamic support at 153.54. And if we fail that, then we have a support at 152.42. Google being at a very low PE compared to the other Mag 5, Mag 7 stocks, I think that Google will not fall that much. So I'm comfortable with just this much of a range prediction for today. Amazon was down 5.17% in pre-market trades. And next, let's look at this one here. Amazon. Okay, Amazon had a very good day the day before, and if you look at the first 4 hour candle, we saw it drop and convert our support, which was at 184.17, into a resistance. And then having done that, it came here and touched the support. As you can see, exactly, it stopped at the support at 180.23. This is what we expected would happen yesterday, and we were right. And this became a support for the second 4 hour as well, and we moved up from here. So we tested the support, we moved up, but we didn't have enough juice to test the resistance at 184.20. So today we are between these two lines, and I'm thinking that today the resistance for us is going to be 184.01. We could potentially retest it if we have some juice in the market. If not, we are going to try and test this support at 180.36. And if we fall down from here, then I'm thinking that our next support is going to be 163.66. It could be a really steep fall indeed. Next, let us look at Apple. Apple was down 4.24% yesterday, and it managed to stay below this resistance of 192.32, which we had anticipated in the morning. In the first half, Apple fell sharply, but in the second half, somehow it moved up. I don't know what was the reason behind the move up for Apple. Maybe it was that they didn't hear anything from China in terms of further retaliation. If that was the case, I would have expected that this morning we would have seen even a bigger drop, but no. Pre-market, we are up 0.04% for Apple. So I don't know what's happening out here, but our resistance will continue to be 192.20, and our support is going to continue to be 182.37. And if we manage to break through this resistance and convert it into a support, then I have another resistance that I want to plot out here, and that resistance is going to be out here because we have been stopped here in the past, and there is also a gap up, gap down, which is being acting as a magnet along with this huge gap down here. So those are the forces that will attract it upward. but right now fundamentals are not looking that great. And if you look at Microsoft was down 2.34% yesterday. And in the first half, Microsoft dropped using this candle. It came down, it converted this line of support, which we had marked yesterday at 380.20 into a resistance. But having tested this line of support out here, it immediately bounced back up again, and it managed to preserve this support at 380.20. So for today, our first support is going to be 380.38, this line out here. Our first resistance is going to be 387.05, and then we have a dynamic resistance out here. I'm going to mark this a little thicker and mark it red because it's a resistance, and I'll just pull this out a little bit so that you can see it clearly. Now, this is going to be a resistance for today. It's going to be a very strong resistance. If we go there, it's going to be around $400.10, something in that range. It's a confluence of the diagonal and horizontal line of resistance, which happens to be here from before. So it's going to be very stiff for Microsoft to go above that. So the chances of coming down is also there. But as you can see in pre-market, we are already up 0.67%. So some news might have come while we are doing this live stream session. We'll check it out towards the end. Tesla is down 0.04%. They are stopping imports of US-made Tesla cars into China. They are stopping taking orders on that with the advent of all these tariffs. So that could definitely have an impact unless there is some positive catalyst out there. Oracle was down 4.54% in pre-market trades. And again, it's up 0.77%. I suspect something is happening out there. Let's go and have a quick look and see if there is any news that we can find that is making the market look good. US, China, I don't see any new news. Bond analyst debate if China had role in treasury swings. No, I haven't seen anything out here. So what we will do is we'll just go and have a look at the futures market and see if there is any shift. Futures market has improved a little bit compared to what we saw earlier. So something is happening underneath the market. We'll figure it out. Let's first finish off the analysis for this morning. AMD was down 8.41% yesterday. So in the morning trade, it tested the support, the resistance we had out here. Let me just mark this red. It was a support when we started in the live stream yesterday because our price had ended at 96.86 the day before. But then it came here and it opened low, so this became a support. It tested this became a resistance, so it tested the resistance and then it got pushed down again. And then we have the support out here, which remained a support for the day. And then in the second half, it could not go anywhere above it, though it had a little bit of bullishness out there. It couldn't cover more than half of the previous 4-hour candle, so the bullishness was short-lived. This morning, we are still between this diagonal line of resistance, which is going to be at 92.20 for today, and this diagonal line of support, which is going to be at 83.93 for today. So this is the range in which AMD is supposed to work today. And then, of course, we have SMCI, which managed to fall further. If you look at this candle out here, this was the candle for the day before. And at that time, we had a support at around 34.78. In the first half of the day, in the first 4 hours, SMCI dropped and converted this into a resistance. So our resistance today is going to be 34.69. And in the second half, it was not able to go anywhere near that resistance. Our support today is going to be 31.13. Let's look at Broadcom. The day before, Broadcom had gone up all the way to 184.83. And during the day, the support at 178.93 was converted into a resistance in the first half. And then we tested the next support, which happened to be at around 170.09, and we were pushed back up again in the first 4 hours. In the second 4 hours, again we tested this support and we were pushed back up again. Today, our resistance is 178.64. Our first support is 170.09. Our second support is 159.65 for AVGO. For Palantir, we were down 3.72%. And this candle out here shows that the bullishness in the second half for Palantir yesterday was much more than the bearishness that we saw in the first 4 hours. However, the cumulative effect of the 8 hours of trade could not cover what happened the day before, which was a long green candle. So this is not looking good, because if you look at the candles together, it forms a bearish harami pattern, which is bearish from a Japanese candlestick pattern. So today our resistance is going to be 101.50 and our support is going to be at 83.66 for Palantir. SMH semiconductor index was down 6.93% in yesterday's trading. So in the first half, we converted this support from the day before into a resistance, and we came down, and in the process we converted a whole lot of supports into resistances. We have this line of support out here which got converted into a resistance, and then we could not come anywhere near this support at 185.32. To that extent, it was a good outcome. However, the fact remains that we were down 6.93%, and this morning we are up 0.91% in pre-market trade. MACD is also bullish. So there is some kind of a positive undercurrent that is happening right now as we head towards market open, which was not the case when we started our live stream. So we'll have to check that and get to the bottom of it. So that kind of brings me to an end. But before I go, I'd like to look at Tempus AI, and Tempus AI still continues to have a resistance at 42.87, which was created in the first 4 hours of the trade. In the second 4 hours of the trade, the bullishness was not sufficient and it was very weak, and therefore for today our resistance is 42.98 and our support is going to be 35.81. So these are the ranges within which Tempus is going to work. So with that said, I just want to go and have a look at our chat window. And hi Inf, thanks for joining. Hot dog, BTC finally being tested as a store of value. No, I don't think so. I don't think Bitcoin is being tested as a store of value. Now what is happening is that there are a few companies which are starting to use Bitcoin as a proxy and instead of their own business. One of them I think is AMC, which is testing that, and I think it's AMC, I'm not sure. There is one more company which was thinking of doing that, apart from MicroStrategy. And these companies, when the Bitcoin goes down, they are buying Bitcoin. So that is distorting the Bitcoin value a little bit, but Bitcoin is more or less going lockstep with the S&P 500. So we'll have to see what happens in future. It has to stay, it has to create a variance from the S&P 500, and then I will think that it's becoming a store of value. Good morning, Inf. Can we get a shout out saying yellow? Yellow, yellow. That's how Inf greets me when I call him on the phone. Yellow. Okay. And then what do we have here? Okay, like MicroStrategy and GameStop. Yeah, GameStop is the company. GameStop is also trying to get into the Bitcoin game. So guys, can you give me any pointers today? What do you think is happening out there? Why are we seeing a pickup in the futures market after having seen a drop while we were doing when we started our morning session? Yeah, it's going back down again, 0.29. Oh no. Yeah, let us see. We have this support out here. Let me mark this support. So we have this support out here which is being negotiated by the futures market. If it manages to fall down below, yeah, that could be it. The support is being tested and it will take some time for it to be tested before it comes down. And if it did come down, then we have the support at 5115.50. It's going to be a long travel back down. If it manages to stay as a support, then our resistance is 5368 all the way up to 5480.25. So that's what I'm thinking. Nasdaq also is negotiating a support. Okay, let me mark this into a support. It's negotiating the support, and if it manages to stay above that, then we have the minor line of resistance at 18781 and a resistance at 19236 and a support at around 18,383.75. Okay, that's all I can say. It's a very fluid situation. It will keep on changing. I don't think retail has stopped buying dips. Yeah, everybody is buying dips and trying to dollar cost average. I'm also doing the same thing. It's a mathematical equation, right? You can reduce your total cost of ownership. If you want to keep only 500 shares of a particular stock and they are at a high dollar cost per share, then when the market goes down, you can always buy a little of them with the hope that when it goes up again intra-trade, you can sell them and book some profits out there and thereby bring down the total cost of ownership of your shares. Maybe some people are doing that. I don't know. And also there is a lot of leakage. This is not the same market we had in the past. This market has got a lot of leakage, and I suspect even Congress is talking about investigating insider trading. So I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of people in Washington, in the politics area, and people adjacent to the White House all end up, making a lot of money in their portfolio. We cannot see all those things, but when Congress starts talking about it, then there must be something to it. So we have to be careful about that. So we retail traders don't know what is happening. We are not in the know. I would consider that to be a conspiracy theory in other times, but right now I'm thinking it is way more than a conspiracy theory, because we have Adam Schiff coming up and talking about that. We have people in Congress talking about starting an investigation. So we should not take it lightly. Anything can move the market. So I believe I saw in one of the YouTube channels, as a retail investor, I watch other YouTube channels as well who do analysis on the market and make commentary, guys who talk about gold, who talk about dollar, geopolitics and everything. So I heard one of them saying that in this market to succeed, you don't need technical analysis, you don't need fundamental analysis. Just look at Trump's account in Truth Social, and then you would be able to do very well. So that's what they were saying. So that's anybody's guess. I don't think, yes, stream is choppy for me too. Yes, hot dog. Yeah, it's a choppy stream. So yeah, now this week is very interesting for me, guys. I'd like to share with you that it's going to be my wife's 60th birthday this week. Her family is coming over from US and UK. We're going to have a big celebration, week full of celebration, and we'll be traveling across to other places because some of them are visiting Canada for the first time. So I want to take them to Niagara and other places. So it's possible that 1 or 2 live streams may not happen. I'll let you know in advance. But I'm always thinking about the markets and you guys. And for this week, I'm going to focus it on my wife, who's been very good to me, and it's been a wonderful life so far. It'll be our 35th anniversary also this week. So it's very special. And I want to give full attention to my family. So I may not probably be doing more live streams in this week, but there'll be 1 or 2. And starting maybe around 16th onwards or 17th onwards until up to 20th, it'll be difficult for me to do live streams. I hope you guys do very well at that time. So that's about it, guys. And yes, thanks, Inf. And see you guys. I'll catch up with you all in the next video. Happy hunting in the market. And just before I leave, I'd like to say that I'm still bearish and I'm thinking the markets are on the way down before going up. So that's where I would leave that for the day. Bye for now. Take care, guys.